Welcome back to the Quick Save Podcast. My name's Josh.
And I'm Alex.
What was that?
I'm not Alex. I'm the cousin of the prince.
Is your name also Alex? That's a little confusing.
It's... You won't understand
I
it.
guess my feeble human mind couldn't comprehend. That's me getting rolled up into the Katamari that you're going to turn into like a planet, and it's going to be called like... Well, there's enough video games in here, it would be like a video game planet. So it'd be like Controller Mars or something like that.
Controller
That's what they would call it. Anyways, we're going to talk about We Love Katamari today. A game in which there are Katamari and cousins, because if you have not played this game, that intro bit is not going to make any sense to you. You're going to be like, what are they to Katamari? Hello? Katamari's game, We Love Katamari.
We love Katamari.
Here's the thing. I do love Katamari. We Love Katamari is a sequel to Katamari Damacy on the PlayStation 2. And this game came out September 20th, 2005. Almost getting ready for the 20-year anniversary.
Early
they
release.
remade Katamari Damacy for Switch and PS4 and stuff. I can only hope they remake this game. I'd go crazy for that. But yeah, let's talk about this game a little bit. So it's developed by Namco. Just Namco.
Just Namco? No one else?
No. Well,
Wow.
It's like, we have like Bandai Namco now because they're like together. This is before that. This is just Namco.
Before the big merger, okay.
Yeah, this is just Namco. So in this game, you roll a ball. The end.
What?
That easy.
You just roll a ball?
Revolutionary gaming tactics. You roll a ball in this game. The ball is called the Katamari. You control the prince. Prince is the son of the king of the cosmos, who is a very large, buff, like ripped, sexy dude. He's got kind of like a Giga Chad look going on a little bit.
You got a chin.
Yeah, he's got very defined chin and face. He's not, like, honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, he's supposed to be like super hot. When you look at him, though, it's kind of like scary.
Like,
Like,
you look at him, you're like, I gotta stay away from him.
He's got this like face that's like, dude, yeah, it's like, I would not trust this guy with anything.
If I really had to place like what he looks like as like, what nationality he would be, I would say he looks very like...
Don't say anything racist. Don't say anything racist.
He looks very French. Like he looks like he's ready to go.
We'll let it slide.
A baguette, and he's waiting for his duck foie gras.
Okay, I was fine with you calling him French, but then you brought in the foie gras, and I'm like, maybe I'd like to renege on this deal a little bit, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, was the foie gras too much?
Yeah, the foie gras was too much. Anyways, yeah, so you play as the prince, who's the son of the king of the cosmos, and your dad bosses you around to help out the humans by rolling up objects in this magical little ball called the Katamari. Here's what makes this game so interesting. Here's what makes the whole franchise so interesting.
Is there foie gras?
Dude, if you keep talking about foie gras this episode, I'm trying to talk about one of my favorite PS2 games ever created, and you're about to spoil it with this damn foie gras bit.
I'm sorry, my foie gras is never spoiled.
So anyways, this is going to be the last episode of the Quick Save Podcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. So here's what makes the whole franchise unique. You roll a ball. Great. It's been done before. Come on, man. I've rolled a ball before. What makes it so unique? The sticks are your hands. You roll a ball, and the sticks are your hands.
Like the game sticks. You don't have sticks for hands.
Well, I can't speak to the viewers at home. I don't want to... Maybe somebody out there's got sticks for hands. Playing the game... The left stick would control your left hand, and the right stick would control your right hand. So imagine you were rolling like a big medicine ball or something. Left stick's your left hand, so when you point the left stick one direction, you kind of rotate or push the ball that way.
So you're kind of pushing it, if you push up on the sticks, you're pushing it forward. If you push down, you're pushing it back, or you're kind of like rolling it backward at that point.
So imagine it's both your hands. If you put both sticks forward, you're like pushing the ball. Yeah, if I put it backwards, I'm like rolling the ball backwards. If you push just your left hand forward, you're going to like rotate. You're going to rotate left. You push just the right stick forward, you're going to rotate right. And then beyond that, there's some advanced controls. I guess I don't know how to describe this motion. If you like wiggle the sticks up and down, if you wiggle both sticks up and down, you do like a dash.
Which, that doesn't really translate that well.
Yeah. If I was pushing a medicine ball and I just wiggled my hands up and down, I would not shoot forward with lightning speed, unfortunately. And then if you click both sticks in, you do like a 180 flip over the Katamari to like go back the other way.
See, the way I like to think about that is you push both sticks in. That's you doing a jump, like doing a handstand on top of it, and then like landing on the opposite.
Imagine you like grabbed and like flipped over the ball.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the plot. Alex, do you want to read the plot of this game? It should be super straightforward and not convoluted or weird at all.
In an extremely self-referential intro describing how the king of the cosmos suddenly became popular, we are treated to our aloof king who believes that he is above listening to the wishes of all the people. But it isn't long before the humans start calling the king cool and amazing and... I'm sorry, you told me to stop speaking French. I can't say that.
Nouveau riche.
I'm sorry, could you say it louder for the podcast?
I said nouveau riche.
So, how come you can speak in French and I can't?
Oh, sorry, I don't know. You can just say foie gras for the next 40 minutes, and then we'll just edit that and upload it and see if we get more likes and views than a normal episode.
In the king, a complete sucker for flattery, begins to change his tune and sends his son, the prince, to do all the work while the king takes all the credit.
So
what a good father.
So, like, this woman is like, I want to see the royal rainbow, which is like, he uses the royal rainbow to transport you once you finish the Katamari. And he's like, no, it's like a special thing. I can't just break out the royal rainbow. And then she's like, the royal rainbow's so pretty. And he's like, pretty, huh?
Let me reach down into the old pocket here.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, maybe we can show you the royal rainbow. I just need my son to go roll up 300 meters of objects first. I need him to roll up an entire city block, and then I can show you the cool royal rainbow. And every mission is like that, where they're like, I want to roll underwater and catch fish. And then, like, you go talk to the king. The king's like, have you guys ever talked about how... The king's like, now that I think about it, I hate the ocean, and the ocean sucks, and I never want to go to the ocean. And then the ocean guy's like, oh, the king is so cool, and he loves water so much. He's like, oh, cool. You know what? I am pretty cool, and I've decided that the ocean's cool, too. It's like, he just needs one person to be like, hey, king, you rule. And he's like, I do rule. We're actually going to listen to the humans now, so...
So, in between the levels, we are also treated to cutscenes from the king's past, showcasing his hardships as a teen and how he met and fell in love with his wife and overcame his manipulative father. This game is about rolling a ball around, just for reference. Just wanted to make sure that was very clear.
Yeah, like you beat a level. So the guy's like, can you roll up my campfire, please? And you're like, sure. And then you roll up the campfire. And then you get a cutscene of, like, the king as a child, like, living on the streets after he ran away from home. And then the next level's like, roll up a bunch of race cars. You're like, what? Like, the levels and the cutscenes do not intersect. They are all pretty much completely different.
So what sets We Love Katamari apart from the original Katamari, Damacy, is really just the variations of the levels. The original game mainly had two kinds of levels. Make your Katamari this big, and make your Katamari this big as fast as possible.
So they'd give you, let's say they give you 10 minutes, and they're going to say, like, make your Katamari 3 meters big. Go. Right? And so then you had 10 minutes to... Exactly. You roll the Katamari up. Then, now, this one you have 10 minutes. Once you hit 3 meters, you got to keep going. You get to make, like, the goal was, now that you hit 3 meters, make it as big as possible. Right? And then the second kind of mission was, I want you to make it 2 meters tall. Go. And exactly. So then the moment you hit 2 meters, they'd stop and be like, okay, you got to 2 meters in like 5 minutes or something, right? So those are the two kinds of missions. But here, I'll break down the list of the new levels that exist here.
Yeah, tell me how far apart we are from the original now.
Here's the new kinds of levels they added to this game that are different or unique. And some of this I think maybe did exist in the first game, but not to this extent. There's a lot of variety in We Love Katamari.
We love Katamari.
So roll up specifically roll up one big object while not extinguishing your flaming Katamari.
So frustrating.
That one sucks. Okay, so you're in a campfire, you're in like a campground.
Such a cool idea. So frustrating.
You're in a campground and there's a river in the middle. And there's like fire extinguishers and stuff. Your Katamari's on fire. There's a campfire at the top of the hill. So you have to roll up things in your Katamari to get big, and then you have to get big enough to roll up the campfire, which is tough. It's like deceptive. You need to be deceptively big. Like you're like, I'm big enough, and then you go up there, you are not big enough. You have to be big to roll it up. So here's the issue. Your Katamari's on fire. If you go in the river, you lose. If you pick up a fire extinguisher, it like heavily puts out the flame. So you need to like...
Or if you're too small, it just puts it out.
Yep. Yeah, if you try and roll up the campfire and you're too small, you lose. So it's like there's a bunch of ways to lose. They don't really explain it super well. So you need to roll up items. But there are certain items you can't roll up because they're going to hurt your Katamari. So it's like, yeah, it becomes this like weird balancing game of like figuring it out as you go. So that level's tough. There are 3 of those. We did 1 and it sucked. There's 3 of those, and each one it needs to get bigger and bigger.
Oh no,
it's awful. Yeah, those were by far the toughest levels I remember as a kid. All right, the next unique level. I love this level. They only did 1 level. Roll up X amount of dollars in items, and so every item you roll up has like a dollar value. So you can roll up a thing of toilet paper, and it'll be like 4-pack of toilet paper, $3 or something like that, right? And your goal was to like get the like
pre-COVID.
Right. So your goal was to get like the most expensive Katamari. And I think that was so fun because it turned Katamari kind of into like a point system. It wasn't about your size, it was about the value of the so like your Katamari.
My Katamari is $1.2 million.
Exactly. So like you could roll up a million things, but if they're all like 1 to 5 cent items, who cares, right? But if you roll up like 10 items and each item's worth like $90, right? Like it's a huge difference. So I thought that was fun because it changes what you're going to prioritize. You're not going to be like, I'm going to roll up the things to make me big. You're like, I'm going to roll up the things that I think are worth more money. I think there's a thing you roll up like 10 bowling pins, and it was like, yeah, that's $40, dude. Set of bowling pins? Yeah, that's $40. Let's go. Roll your Katamari up so big underwater. There's 1 underwater level. That's unique. You couldn't go on. There were no underwater levels in the first game.
It was nifty.
And then the gravity's like reduced. So it's like that level I find tough just because it's slow. It's so slow to like go around and turn, and then if you touch a fish hook in that level, the fish hooks just like drag you up, and you just like are stuck in the fish hook for like 30 seconds. That sucks.
Yeah, because it was also timed, right?
It's timed, so yeah, if you get stuck on a fish hook, you just waste like 30 seconds. Roll up as many of one item as possible. So we saw one of these. We saw the flower level, which is pretty early on. Like, roll up as many flowers as possible.
I like that one a lot too.
That's cool. There's one. I don't know. If, maybe we did see this. Did we get to the origami one where the guy's laying down? And he goes, "Origami."
Yes.
And you had to roll up all the paper cranes.
Yes, and I remember I was jamming to it.
It was in the school, yeah. So you had to roll up as many paper cranes as possible. And then there's another one. We didn't get to it. I like this one. There's a dog later on, and the dog, he goes, woof.
Yeah.
So he's like raising his hand, woof. And the dog wants you to roll up as many friends as possible. And so you're in a zoo, and you have to you have to roll up as many animals as possible because all animals are his friends. So you just need to roll up as many animals as possible.
Woof.
That's what he's in the hub world. Woof. That level's really cool. I do like the zoo level. You did not see the zoo level at all? It's fun. It's tough. It's like weirdly segmented. Super cool area though. And then finally there's an unlockable level called the Rose level. I don't remember what you need to do to get it, but it's like the final level in the game. This level is insane. You got to roll up like 2 million roses, and they spawn in like real time. So it's like you're on one little planet, and the planet is nothing but roses. So you roll up all the roses, and let's say you roll up like 1,000 roses on the planet, and then you need to wait like 2 hours in real time.
Oh no.
Yeah, so you have to like come back to the game like 2 hours later, and it'll have respawned another 1,000 roses.
Good old PS2 times where you're in the middle of a level, you can't just stop and
or it's
save and
it's
like,
something
shut
insane
off.
like that where it's like, yeah, you need to come back to the level every couple hours and roll up another 1,000 roses, but the guy wants like 1,000,000 roses. So it's like insane. I got there once when I was a kid, and I was like, I can't do this. This is like an insane amount of time I'd be spending to do this. Roll up as many one items as possible. After that is roll up a man to eat food so he can be the new sumo champion.
Yeah, I love this one.
There are 3 different versions of this level.
Oh no.
Because there are, I don't remember the names of the sumo like ranks, the classes.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
But essentially the first time he needs to beat the, let's say, first time he needs to beat like the lightweight sumo. So you need to roll up the guy, you need to roll up specifically food items. And the food items make him a rotund sumo lad. And then you eventually roll up, I think the first one's like Yokozuna. So boom, you get so big, you roll up so many calories, and then you defeat the Yokozuna. And then there's 2 more where it's like you defeat, after the Yokozuna, you defeat this guy, and then eventually you become the main big sumo dude. Those levels are fun because you don't roll a Katamari, you're just rolling the dude. He's like, turn me into the Katamari and roll up food. And you're like, I guess you're just like rolling up a dude.
It's so funny because like it's just like, why is this happening? What? Okay.
And then you beat the sumo level, and then the backstory for the king is like, yeah, my dad threw my wrestling trophy into the river. You're like,
it's so sad.
you're like, what is happening in this video game right now? And then the final level, the final like main story level in the game, you roll up the earth into the sun, because that's your whole goal in the game is to roll up the sun.
Yeah, who needs an earth?
And you can like fail, and it makes like a sizzling noise when you put the. You're like, I just murdered like a very large amount of people, boiled them into the sun. Those are like the new unique levels, but honestly, this game is like a treat. We had a ton of fun playing it, just messing around in the levels. The soundtrack slaps, but
Oh, the soundtrack's so good.
it is so good. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but it is it's a very unique title for the PS2. I feel like there really are no other games that are like Katamari.
Its uniqueness puts it in a very special place, to say the least.
Yeah. There's a handful of PS2 like ball rolling games. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about Katamari that really stands out in a fun way. So, well, Alex, why don't you tell me your thoughts about Katamari? Have you played a Katamari game before this, or not really?
I haven't. Funny enough, I've owned a Katamari game before we played this, but I've never put in, played it.
Which one do you own? Is it Beautiful Katamari on the 360?
It's Katamari Forever.
Okay, the PS3 one, which is... You should play that, because that's honestly, it's kind of just like a greatest hits of the first and the second one from the PS2 game. So it'll be some of the levels you've played, and then it'll be some levels from the original game. But it kind of just takes the best, and it kind of makes a different story out of it. Because you're kind of like, it's like, let's look at the history book, and you're like revisiting these levels in terms of the story. It's really interesting.
But let's talk about price for this game here. Came out on the PS2. That's it. Nowhere else. Yeah,
You can only get this one on the PlayStation 2.
So if you want a loose copy, Black Label, $14.44.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. Complete, $19.97. So it's held some value.
$20, yep.
For the Red Label, which is the greatest hits, loose is $11.55. Wow, could drop $3 there. Complete, $20. If you want a complete copy of this, go for the Black Label. I mean, if you're gonna pay $20 no matter what,
yeah, it's gonna be the same price. Yeah,
get the Black Label. Looks nicer. I'm honestly kind of surprised that's held its value as well as it has. I was definitely expecting it to be closer to $10 or $15, but $20 is it's a good game, and it is a good game. That's the thing. Let me tell you what I liked about this one, Josh. This is the game you brought to the table. I never played it. Like I said, I owned it. I've never really had the desire to play through or to just really see what this is about.
Yeah, it's just like an oddity that you were like, yeah, I don't know, put it on the shelf, right?
Yeah, it was nifty. It's a title that, most people don't really hear about or play. This is a challenging game, to say the least. Very challenging at times. Very much you need to understand how the controller works, and then after that, you need to understand how the game works. But once you learn those, this is a very satisfying game. Mm-hmm. There was never a level I completed that I felt man, that was a waste of time. I always felt very wow, that was really fun. I would do that again.
Yeah, each thing feels like a kind of unique goal and objective, which makes playing through them, you're like, oh, I did it. That was cool.
And, I would gladly recommend this to any of my other friends, any player that's never had a chance to play this game. I would definitely throw it up there and be like, hey, let's play something interesting and kind of weird. You just don't see games like this anymore.
I think you do see games like this, but they're all small indie titles. So they don't have this was
you don't see big games like this.
Yeah,
anymore.
I was gonna say this is a mainline. Namco put a bunch of money into this game, but honestly, they only put money into this game because the first one performed. The first one came out and it wasn't a huge success, but it was a decent success. Critics liked it. It was a moderate hit, right? So Namco was yeah, it's a safe bet.
Let's make another.
We might mention this in fun facts a little bit, but Namco looked at the creator, Keita Takahashi. They looked at him and they were like, we're going to make a sequel with or without you. So if you want to we're going to do another game. If you want to come work on it, that's cool. If not, we're going to make a second Katamari.
Yeah, that's me looking at you going, I'm going to make a second podcast channel for.
I don't care if you're in it or not, but it's happening. So it's they were Namco was in on Katamari. They were yeah, we're just gonna do another one. So Keita Takahashi was yeah, okay, I'll come back for a second one, and
If you're gonna kick me out, I might as well be there.
Right. I know we're talking about our thoughts here quick, but I want to step back and I want to talk about scores.
Scores.
Scores. Eurogamer, 9 out of 10.
The Europeans loved it.
They were like, whoa. Das Ball. Das Katamari.
Das Katamari.
Game Informer, 8.5 out of 10. The Americans love it less. GameSpot, 8.4 out of 10. IGN, 8 out of 10. GameSpy and GamePro both gave it a 4 out of 5. Official U.S. PlayStation Magazine gave it a 4.5. X-Play gave it a 4.
X-Play gave it a 4.
4 out of 5 Katamari's or something like that. I'm sure is what they
X-Play. You remember X-Play? I remember X-Play.
We're going to talk about X-Play later because
I love X-Play.
I literally mentioned X-Play being... That's how I found out about this game when I was a kid.
I watched so much X-Play.
I also watched... Whenever I see the word, or like the acronym MMORPG, I think of the episode where they just called them Mamorgs.
Mamorgs.
Yeah, so that's what I think of when I see like MMORPG. I just read it Mamorg. And the Sydney Morning Herald gave this a 5. Australians went crazy for Katamari. Crikey!
The Sydney Morning Herald.
Crikey!
Is that a newspaper? Is there just like a newspaper that's like, let's talk about video games?
Crikey, Philip, you gotta say this. He rolls up a little ball and he turns it into a star.
Oh my god, I can't do an Australian accent to save my life, but be like, it's a dung beetle.
Everybody's favorite Japanese reviewer, Famitsu.
Famitsu!
Can you guess what they gave it out of 40?
All right. If I remember correctly, this game did fairly well in Japan.
It did. Yeah, it did fine.
It did fine. Like,
so for reference on the board, Australia gave it a 5 out of 5. America's sitting around like an 8.
4.
No, yeah,
8 out of 10. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, 8.5. Eurogamer gave it a 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna say this got. Oh god, now I have to think of like
out of 40.
Out of 40.
Out of a Japanese perfect 40.
I'm gonna say it's got a 31 out of 40.
Oh, close. 34 out of 40,
Ooh.
which puts us probably in the like 4.5-ish range. 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, sold over by the end of the year. So this came out. So I think this came out earlier in Japan. So it was maybe like May or summer of 2005 in Japan. Sold over 115,000 copies by the end of the year in Japan.
That's crazy.
Like that's pretty wild. Like 6 months, 100,000 units in 6 months.
It was moving to say the least.
Yeah, that's what I got for scores. We can talk about go back to thoughts now. I just wanted to mention it while I was thinking about it.
How about you? What'd you think?
This is easily in one of my top 5 PS2 games. This makes my list.
I would not say that it makes my list, but it's definitely in one of my memorable spots.
You also have not played the whole game. So, I mean, I think...
That is fair. That's a fair...
If you played the whole thing, at least like the main story mode or something, that could change. Because we just played a handful of hours. But I played this so much when I was a kid, I must have worn the disc out, man. This was... I saw a review on X-Play. It was like, I don't even think I saw...
You remember X-Play? I remember X-Play.
I went back and I watched the review for this. We'll link the review down below. I watched the review for We Love Katamari. I don't even think I saw the review for We Love Katamari. I think I saw the review for the first Katamari Damacy. But in the review, they're like, yeah, everyone in Japan's on drugs. And this game is proof of that. The intro cutscene...
They have yet to be disproven.
The intro cutscene has red pandas that dance around to, like, the wildest pop song you've ever heard. And, like, the king is doing laundry while the prince rolls a ball up that's full of, like, cars and cows and, like, humans. What? So it's like, I saw that when I was a kid, and they're, like, making fun of this game. They're like, the visuals are crazy, but it's so much fun to play. I was at Walmart. I vividly remember buying this game in the middle of Montana. I went to Walmart with my dad.
Just a Montana boy.
I went to Walmart with my...
Katamari.
I went to Walmart with my dad, and they had We Love Katamari, and I was like, whoa, they have it. My dad's like, what? I was like, Katamari. He's like, what's that? I'm like, you roll a ball around and pick stuff up. And then, I don't know, some 20-year-old dude at Walmart was like, I was like, yeah, that one, please. He's like, oh, hell yeah. He's like, have you played the first one? I'm like, no. He's like, dude, it's so fun. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready, man. Dude from Walmart hooked me up.
Yeah, dude from Walmart. Dude from Walmart, if you're out there listening to this, he remembers.
Yeah, if you worked at a Walmart in Montana in like 2006 or something like that, and you're like, whoa, that was me. I helped that kid buy By We Love Katamari on PS2.
If there's a stern-looking father figure next to a starry-eyed boy,
Remembering
that
this,
was you.
remembering the story makes me feel so old. Like, we bought a PS2 game brand new from Walmart. Makes me feel like the oldest person on planet Earth that's saying that out loud. But I don't know, something about the simplicity of just like rolling the ball around. It's like there's another game, I always mention this, there's another game we have to play this much called Mojo on PS2. And it's just like a ball rolling puzzle game.
What's it with you and rolling balls, man?
I don't know, man. Something about the PS2 and ball rolling games, just right up my alley. Literally the perfect game for me is like roll a ball on a PS2 controller. It doesn't get better than that. Go nuts. Give me more thoughts.
The little guys, because you unlock the cousins and they're in the overworld. You go around the little guys and there's a button that makes you dance. There's funky music that plays. If you get close to them, they dance to the funky music with you in the conga line.
We'll talk about speedruns in a bit.
Oh my god.
I watched a guy that do the 12-hour speedrun to celebrate when he finished the speedrun, because you have to roll up and unlock all the cousins. He did the dance with all the cousins.
Oh my god.
But so the song that plays when you get all the cousins, or when you like the song that plays when you do your little dance in the overworld, it goes
yeah, it's this funky little tune.
And then you just go pick them up and they're all just kind of like
It's like
waving their arms. No, it goes up and down. It's like
yeah, it's like this weird like offset like
the whole
bouncing theme.
The whole thing is perfect. It really is just truly perfect.
But they dance with you and it's so adorable. You're like, oh my god,
cute. It's very cute.
Besides little guys dancing, that makes me fill with joy as I see them go around my screen. I felt like a kid playing this game. Everything was so whimsical.
It's all so yeah. It's like
I even talking about, I just have this big smile.
There's this sense of realism where it's like, oh, all these people are like, my normal job is so boring. I wish something cool would happen in my town. And then you're like, okay, what if I rolled up every single car in your city block into a ball and then turned it into a planet? And then the most like insanely upbeat song you've ever heard in your life plays and you roll up like this Technicolor ball. Everything is like blocky PS2 graphics. The whole thing is, it really is just like, it's beautiful.
It's whimsical.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I never felt like more of like, oh, giggling at little things.
Yeah, it's
like, you're just like
funny.
I'm a fully grown adult. I have a full-time job I keep down. I don't have time to like do these fun fantasy things.
That's the thing, is like there's something just so lighthearted about this game.
Here I am giggling every time I roll something up.
I played the Katamari remake on Switch, and it did not control as well as I wanted it to. Which maybe that's just how the first game is. So I've not played the original Katamari Damacy, so it's very possible that the controls on that are not as good as the We Love Katamari controls. But the remake, just, I don't know. They like redid a bunch of the graphics and stuff, but it feels so superficial. Like the game looks bad.
Really?
No, sorry. Like the original games. So like We Love Katamari, all the people are like rectangles.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I don't know. There's a charm to that though.
That's the thing, is like they look bad. But that's the fun of it. Like, they commit hard to that style where everything's kind of blocky and pixelated and whatever, right? But so, like, the new remake, they, like, do, like, kind of redo some of the graphics, but they try and keep this, like, blocky style still. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't work in my mind. But something about this game is so beautiful and lighthearted and fun. And I think the graphics definitely help with that. But what really helps with that...
It reminds me of a coloring book.
Yeah, it's very bright. Like, the whole thing, they're like, the colors are not saturated. It's bright. Everything's Technicolor, and you roll the Katamari around, and it's like bright green and purple and stuff, right? So it's like super fun. A rainbow appears every time you beat a level. Like, it's great.
And then you see some dad domestically abusing his son.
No, that only happens when you lose and he shoots the laser beams at you. My biggest note here on the game is the soundtrack. Each level has its own unique song. I think eventually, once you get to some of the later stuff, I think they do repeat some songs, but it's not a ton. But they're all so good. Every single song is unique. There's pop, there's jazz, there's classical, you name it. It's the soundtrack has it all. every song has some kind of like vocal a cappella part where like do 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 do, and you just every single time you're like, let's
You're just bumping
go.
with it.
Let's,
You're like, yeah,
let's freaking
do
go.
do is right.
Yeah, man. And the songs, they just loop, and they loop pretty like perfectly. So it's like you might play a level for 10 minutes, and it's gonna play the song 3 times, but every time you're like, this song freaking rules. And there's a lot of hits. I think it's Lucky Star is good. Katamari on the Swings is good.
I don't know the names, but I know they bump.
Yeah, they all bump. Katamari on the Swings is the one in the beginning where the guy goes, come on, everybody! And you go, bow, 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 bow. It's like electronic PS2 era Japanese goodness. It is so freaking good. You gonna go pull it up? This man, he looks like he's on a mission. I don't think he is, but it looks like he's typing in, "We love Katamari OST" on YouTube. Just like me when I was a teenager, and I needed a boost of serotonin. But it is honestly, the soundtrack is a jam, and I'd highly recommend listening to it. Is it from the original game, or what is it?
Yeah, it's from the original.
Yeah. I was going to say, this isn't in We Love Katamari.
Katamari Damacy. Katamari Damacy. So fun.
That's like the first level you play. That's like the second level you play has the like most just like banging track you've ever heard, ever played in a video game. They play like every single brass instrument you could even think of in that song.
They play instruments you've never heard of, probably. But you know what?
It's amazing.
It slaps.
It's amazing. It's also good.
Look, this game is not only just a musical banger, it is also visually stunning.
It's visually cluttered, but not in a way that is
not in a bad way.
Yeah, not in a way that gives you like anxiety.
Like everything that is cluttery, you pick up, and so it becomes cleaner as you go. But
yeah, it kind of has this like satisfaction of like something like Power Wash Sim or something, where it's like you have the satisfaction of like cleaning up these areas and like picking all the things up and decluttering this area.
The problem for me was that like there's so much to look at that I would sit sometimes and just look at the world. And, you know, my timer's going down.
Yeah, they have, they like to hide little, like, almost like visual gags sometimes. So it'll be like you'll go to the farm or something, and it'll be like, there's a pig, and on top of the pig is a dog, and on top of the dog is a cat, and on top of the cat is, like, a chicken or something. It's like, they have these little things where it's like, it's good because you can roll up a bunch of items at once, but also it's, like, funny. It's just like, yeah, there's a dog on top of a pig.
There's one where we were in the city where the gym is, and there's like a train station. But you start off in someone's house, and like you get into their backyard, and in the backyard, the kids are playing with like trucks in like a sand pit.
Yep.
And like if you get close to them and you just wait, you'll hear them go, boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
And like you like see them like jump their little truck in the game, and I'm like, that's hilarious.
There's little stuff. Sometimes the king comments on like unique situations. One of the levels where you go to the like first little city, there's like a burglar, and you roll up the burglar, and they're like, "Whoa, a burglar!" They're like, or like he doesn't like understand human stuff, so he's like, "Wow, that guy's holding a large sack of money. Weird." Or like, so like, there's a
man, that's odd. All right, whatever.
There's a ton of, or then there's like you catch the police officer who's chasing after the burglar. And it's like, whoa, this cop seems to be in a hurry. What's he after, or something like that, right? There's a ton of like little things like that where it's like you can roll up these like almost like situations, and the king will be like, that's super weird. Like you'll roll up a robot, and he'll be like, what is this tin can doing here? Like he'll make these comments.
Yeah, everything is like almost a joke upon itself. Like you're rolling a ball to roll up things, and the things you roll up are like situational sometimes. And like the more you roll up, the more like opportunities there are to like have like some weird little saying or something else happen like in the game.
We didn't get here. I want you to go through the game. You should get to this level at least. There's a level where you just roll up. So you start in the room. You start super small, and eventually you get so big. This is one of the final levels. Eventually you get so big you roll up countries. Just like straight up countries on Earth. You start rolling up countries, but you start from the smallest and get to the biggest. So it's like you're going to start rolling up like dice and mahjong tiles and thumbtacks, and then you're going to go outside, and outside you're going to roll up flowers and picnic materials and food. And then you're going to go to the town. Town, you're going to roll up, maybe now you're big enough, you're going to start rolling up people, and you're going to roll up like big stuff. Then from the town, you get into like the city, which is like bigger. So boom, you get to the city, and now the city has like tanks and build small buildings. You start rolling up small buildings. Then from there, you unlock like the capital. So now it's like skyscrapers and stuff. So now you're rolling up huge buildings and cars and trucks and blimps and airplanes. Then beyond that, then you get the world where you're just rolling up. They have like landmarks. You can roll up Mount Rushmore and the White House and the Eiffel Tower and the Taj Mahal. Like you're rolling up like locations.
Human history gone in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you just roll it all up. And then once you get big enough, you roll up countries, which I love the freaking country level. It makes me so happy. That's how I learned about, I was a kid, that's how I learned about the Federated States of Micronesia, because you could roll them up in Katamari. It's just rolling up every single country on the planet. It's amazing.
So random.
Yes, it is so silly. But something I really love doing in this game is you have a collection. So I found this out. We'll talk about this in a bit. There's 2,900 plus items in this game.
Which is wild.
Like unique things you can
This
roll
is just
up.
on a PS2 disc.
On a PS2 disc. There's 29,000 rendered items that you can pick up in your Katamari. You have a collection where you can go and see what you've collected, what you rolled up. Each item has a little like lore entry from the king. So it'll be like a dice, like a D6. It'll be like a little square that humans use. It's like a little square that humans like to play with all the time. I've seen a lot of people lose money over one of these, or something like that, right? Each little item will have like its own little lore entry. In the first level, you roll up just like generic shapes, and you roll up like a ball, and it's like a smooth ball. They're super fun to like roll around and play with. Reminds me of a Katamari. And then you get to like the cone, and it's like the sphere's angrier brother, or something like that.
That's
right?
pretty
Because
good.
it's pointy. Like, it's super funny little lore entries that really add to the charm. And it's like everything, like you said, has this whimsy. Like the king is commenting on literally every single item, being like, "Oh, here's this cute little weird thing. I like it." So I love that.
Angry Frenchman in the sky. Hear me out. No, I was vibing. Bring it back.
No, I will not bring it back. That's from the racetrack level where the ball
Oh, that's why it was so good.
where the ball doesn't stop moving forward. It just goes. Like, you don't need to roll it forward. It just goes forward on its own. I do like that level. But since that's from the racetrack level, you know what that means? It's time for the King of the Cosmos' Speed Corner, where we talk about speedrun and speedrun-related activities for today's video game. So there's 4 main categories. And honestly, there are not that many runs. Looking at the amount of runs that are in this game, I'm like, I could run this.
Think you could get first?
No, not a chance. Because you have to do the dash all the time, which is, like, tough. And you, like, route it out. Because, like, the levels, like, essentially these speedrunners have, like, figured out the most optimal way to roll through a level while picking up the biggest items that you can currently pick up. So it's like, I'm going to go here and I'm going to roll up all the tulips. From the tulips, I'm going to roll up the sandwiches that are on the picnic. Then from the picnic, I'm going to roll up the ducks in the pond. The ducks in the pond get me to this size. This size lets me roll up the watermelons, right? Like, it's like they've got it routed out of like, roll these items, then this one, then that one, then that one. So you have to like memorize every level.
Jeez.
I think I could get good at it, but it would definitely take like months of practicing and doing it and figuring out what's what. But okay, the main category that a lot of people run is called Roll Up the Sun, because that's the end of the main story mission. Is this dog says, I want you to roll up the sun, and the first
Woof.
time, no, different dog,
Woof.
different dog. That's the sad dog. This is the cool dog who's like, roll up the sun.
He's like, woof, woof.
I don't know what he says. Maybe he does say woof. Maybe he says bark. I don't know.
Bark.
But I know the one who wants friends. He's the sad one who goes, woof. It's not good. It's not as good as my favorite one is. I still have the guy who goes, origami,
Origami.
origami, and he just says that over and over. I love that. It's probably my favorite overworld voice line.
To clarify, they literally only repeat those words.
They just say one word and like repeat it. So they'll be like, hey, 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 and you just need to go talk to them.
And then my favorite thing was the origami guy. I would do the little dance around him, and like he would be like on beat. Origami. Origami.
Yeah. Another good one is it goes, Your Highness, Your Highness. And he just repeats that. She's pretty good. So roll up the sun. The dog says, hey, roll up the sun. That's the main story mission.
Hey, go roll up that sun.
Please. You roll up the sun. That's the main story mission. So a lot of people, because that's kind of like the ending in a lot of ways of the game. There's more past that, obviously. But so roll up the sun, 52:35 by Shimana, who's an American runner. 52:35, less than an hour. It's not bad.
Pretty fast.
I don't know. So now we're going to get to the second category, which is roll up the sun, no boost, in 58:51 by Shimana.
6-minute difference.
So it says no boost. I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's some glitch or exploit they're using to like boost their speed maybe in levels or what, but clearly there is some kind of difference between these two runs where one is using a boost and the other isn't. No
Interesting.
clue. But Shimana has both records in those categories. Unlock Rose level, which is 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 6 seconds by Harutomo, who is a Japanese runner. I was going to pull this up quick. This is also known in Japan by, it's also called Everybody Loves Katamari, which we couldn't call that here because we get it too confused with Everybody Loves Raymond, a amazing sitcom. Deborah, they rolled up the living room again. They turned it into a planet. And then the brother would come over and be like, Raymond.
Where's the couch, Raymond?
Where's the couch, Raymond? Now we did like a Walt. Where's the couch, Walt? So let me find out about this Rose level, huh? After collecting all the cousins to be found in the game and rolling them all up in the level represented by the Hoshino boy. Oh, we'll talk about that. That's tough. Man, I remembered why the Rose level's so hard to get to now. A level opens up telling the player to roll up 1,000,000 roses, which are only scattered about the level as bouquets of 10 roses, both types respawning after a short time. So this is the only level in the game, this Rose level, where you can leave and come back, and it'll like save your progress.
Okay.
Because there's so many, you couldn't do it in one setting. It would take forever. Yeah, I've heard this. People have beaten this Rose level by just like, because the roses respawn after a while, so people would just take rubber bands and like rubber band their sticks forward and just like let it collect roses for, like a day and a half or whatever, and then you have it done. You need to collect all the cousins, which are the unlockable characters in each level. Some levels have up to 4 cousins. So that means you would need to play that level 4 times to get the cousin, which sucks. Some of those levels, a lot of the ones that have 4, I think there's only maybe a handful, but those are like the later levels where it's like you're going to start at the smallest and then roll up the countries. So it's like it's going to be like a 15-minute run of you doing it. You'll have to do it 4 times.
Jeez.
Yeah, sucks. If I'm being honest, that's the easy part. Then, once you roll up the sun, you get a credit sequence where you are rolling up all of the cousins while the credits are going. You're rolling up all of the cousins, but then the king is trying to catch you. So it's like side-scrolling left to right. So you're on the left, you're going to the right. You need to roll up all of the cousins in this little credits minigame. So let's say you're in the middle of the screen, okay? The king shows up on the left, and then he like missile dives at you, so you have to move out of the way. But you can only move up, down, left, and right. It's not in 3D, it's just in 2D. So you have to roll up all the cousins. But if the king catches the ball, you lose. You have to do the whole thing over. So you need to avoid the king, and you need to unlock every cousin and roll up every cousin in this little bonus section. It's tough. I remember it being very tough. So yeah, that's 2 hours to do that. And then by far the longest speedrun. Give me a sec. The longest speedrun by far, 2,962 items. So that's rolling up every item in the game.
That's a small feat.
There's one run in this category.
Just one.
Mr. Pie Mittens has done this run. Over 12 hours to roll up every single item in the game. I'm sure it could be done faster, right? Than 12 hours.
Hopefully.
But the amount, you'd have to do calculations of what level, because like a ton of levels are going to have unique items, right? It's here's a building that you can only roll up in this level, right? So you could do it in less than 12 hours, but I am sure you would have to do a whole thing. And it also, so rose level, right? So when you make the planets, you can roll those planets up when you roll up the star. So you need to roll up 1,000,000 roses. That'll turn into the rose planet, and then you need to roll up the rose planet. I am sure that 90% of the 12 hours was probably just 6 hours of roses or something, right? Like just roll up the 1,000,000 roses forever until you get the planet, and then you have to roll up the planet. You know what you get if you roll up every item?
What do you get?
The king gives you a cosmetic gift. It's just
oh my god!
He just gives you a present that you can wear or something like that. But yeah, one run.
That feels bad.
12 plus hours. Yeah. All right, let's go over our favorites and least favorites, and then wrap this bad boy up. Let's talk about why we love Katamari.
I loved Katamari because it's cool. It's really cool.
Amen.
It's so cool.
Amen.
Everything felt fresh from a game from 2005.
It's unique. Like I said, there just is not another game that is like this.
Every level we played was something different, even though it was the exact same thing. There was no two roles that were the same.
It all just feels, it all feels like you could play this game 10 times, and each time you'd be like, it feels like a new experience.
Yeah, nothing felt consistent. Everything felt kind of chaotic in a sense, and it was moving, and you would play one level once and then you go back and play it again. There's different items.
Yeah, they change. Yeah, they change spawns and stuff. Yeah, so
and that matters how your Katamari grows.
Yeah, from one playthrough to the next, you could have completely different items that spawn in rooms.
And so those are the reasons I really do enjoy this game. It's just continuously fresh. The soundtrack is amazing. I want to go and keep playing Katamari. It's the only thing that crosses my mind when I think about Katamari, besides the big smile on my face. My problems with Katamari, though. Ooh, my problems.
You and I have the same issues with this game.
Some levels feel very unfair.
Cough, cough, campfire level.
But at the same time, they're not really that unfair. It's very much about understanding the strategy. But the problem with that is they don't explain the strategy.
Yep.
So you have to sit there and, if you don't know how the campfire level plays out, and you don't have access to a walkthrough or anything, you could sit there for 10,
you
20,
could
30,
waste
40 minutes.
You could waste 2 runs. I mean, that happened to us. We played that level 4 times just because we would get to a spot where there were no items we could roll up. So if you don't roll up any items, eventually your Katamari just goes out. So you need to keep rolling stuff up. But we would hit a point where it was we were too far away from items. So by the time you would get to an item, your Katamari ran out of fire.
And it's very disheartening because you're working so hard and things are going well, but it's still a challenge yet. And then all of a sudden it's oops, you went out of the path that you were supposed to, so now you lose.
Yeah, so they're explore, find all the hidden stuff, and roll up every item. You're okay, you go into the campfire level, it's explore. Okay, well there's a spot under the river, you go into the river. Nope, can't go into the river. You die. After you already did, there's an underwater level. Okay, so I'm going to do the underwater level. Now I'm going to do the fire level. Go into the water. No, you can't go in the water. In the fire level. Roll up every item. Okay, well, in every other level, they want me to roll up every item. This level, I'm going to roll up the fire extinguisher. Nope, fire extinguisher, put your Katamari out. So they kind of flip it on its head, but they don't really explain very well to you what you need to do or how they flipped it on its head.
It takes away some of that childlike fantasy.
Playing a level once is fun. Playing a level 6 times in a row because you keep losing, that sucks.
Yeah, it takes the feathers out from under it. Instead of the soft, cushy, oops, you made a mistake, try again, it's very much a hard fallback to reality of like, oh.
And that's why, honestly, when I played the Katamari remake, I liked it less because all the levels are the same, which is like roll fast or roll big, the end, right? It's just like the lack of variety, having to do the same thing over and over and over, just kind of got old.
If that's my biggest dislike about it, though, that's pretty darn good in my opinion.
Biggest issue, some of the levels
Are sucky.
Yeah, some of the levels kind of suck to play through.
That's great. If that's the only thing I could think of complaining about, it's a good game, man. It's a really good game.
Yep. Yeah, so for me, I don't know, I would love to say the entire game. Like the whole game. I love it. Like I said, this is easily in my top 5 PS2 games. There are some games I just think about where I'm like, if I want to plug the PS2 in, I'm like, I want to play this game. Katamari, SSX3, Tony Hawk Underground 2, American Wasteland, stuff like that. There's like games where I like, when I think about a console, I think about these games, and Katamari makes the list. We love Katamari, makes that list for me. But if I had to pick one thing, I could not harp on it enough, the soundtrack. I would load up menus. Once you beat the game, they give you like a music menu, where you can just like listen to whatever song you want.
Hell yeah.
Even when you're playing levels, there's like a BGM select, so you can choose what song to listen to while you're rolling stuff up in different levels. So I would implore you, even beyond playing the game, when I was like in high school, I would like pull the soundtrack up on YouTube and just put like headphones into the computer and just like chill and listen to the music anyways. I would recommend listening to this. There's some good covers. I think Katamari on the Rocks has a pretty good cover on Spotify. But yeah, please check out the music for the Katamari franchise. It's so freaking good.
So good.
And then, yeah, my least favorite, I'm going to agree with you on level design. Some levels just feel way tougher than others. So like I said, Campfire, if you touch the water, you die. If you run out of items, you die. If you roll up things that extinguish your fire, you die. If you try and roll up the campfire and you're not big enough, you die. It just feels...
It's really weird because, like, you think of, like, difficulty progression.
Yeah.
Where the first levels are easier, and then like as you get into the later levels, they're harder. But like this was very spurty. Like the campfire one was very difficult, and I don't know which one we did next. I think we did the sumo one next, maybe.
Yeah.
And that one wasn't that difficult. But then we did the underwater one. That was kind of difficult.
Yeah.
And then we did the city one. That was easier. And it's just kind of like this weird up and down.
And it's hard to like. I can't imagine how like. When you talk about, like, the difficulty of video games, right? So let's talk about, like, God of War. Okay, I'm going to put it on normal. Okay, enemies have 100% health, and you deal 100% damage. I'm going to put it on hard. Okay, now enemies have 150% health, and you deal 70% damage, or something like that, right? Where it's like, the difficulty is like, okay, make the enemies tougher, and make you weaker.
Yep.
Something like this, it is infinitely harder to quantify how to make this easier or harder. Okay, put more items in the level. Well, there's already 2,000 items in the level. Well, put bigger items in the level, right? Like, okay, does putting bigger items in the level make it easier? Does it make it harder, right? Like, I'm sure them playtesting this, they were like, I don't know, it's tough, but like doable, good enough, right? Like, it's,
yeah.
you know, it's
hard to like find that sweet spot of like this accommodates all plays.
Well, I added 2 more pumpkins, so that makes the level easier, right? Like, you know, how do you quantify making this easier or harder? And so, but I would agree. There are definitely some levels, yeah, like the campfire, because there's 3 campfire levels. Like the 3rd campfire level, you have to be like 12 meters tall or so. It's like huge.
Jeez.
It's huge.
That's a bonfire.
Yeah, you need to be freaking insanely big. It's huge.
You don't know nothing about fire. Let me show you a fire.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other levels that we didn't get to that are tough.
Tell me the zoo one's easy.
It's not too bad.
I want the dog to have friends.
That one's not too bad. The main thing is that the level's kind of like a big U shape, so it's kind of like a big O. So it's like you kind of need to just go around.
Big O.
Yeah,
I'll cut that.
Yeah, that dude. Good reference. Big O. Showtime, and then the robot it shoots out from a building and destroys like half a city block.
It has a Katamari.
Dude, Big O has a Katamari. Let's go. Crossover. And Steve Bloom is like, King of Cosmos. It's showtime. And he hits his what? Big O. No, but so the game is amazing, but there are levels. And again, I'm trying to think of these levels that we didn't do. There's one where you have to roll up a bunch of like lights. So it's like fireflies and flashlights, and you're trying to make like the brightest Katamari. And I think as you make your Katamari bright, the rest of the level gets like darker. So you like need your Katamari for like lighting the level and stuff like that. I remember that. The money one isn't too bad. Underwater sucks just because it takes forever. Underwater is slow. Honestly, you had difficulties with the racetrack one.
All right, so I think a
the-
lot of my difficulties in the game lie with me not being familiar with the control scheme.
That's the thing. If you have not played this game, and the first time you play this game, you're going to be like, this game's hard. Because controlling it is so unlike any other game control you have ever played in your entire life. You need to use both sticks at the same time to like push and rotate. That's why I find it really helps to imagine the sticks are your hands. So like if you're pushing a ball, okay, how am I going to... What direction am I pushing, or how am I going to physically manipulate this ball?
I'm going to say this. I think it'd be really cool. PS2 VR2. I'm sorry, PSVR2. There we go. Not PS2. So, put in virtual reality, remake Katamari Damacy, then you control it the way you would with your hands.
Something I've said for a while. So this Katamari came out on PS2. We Love Katamari was on PS2. Katamari Forever, which is essentially just the greatest hits of the first two games, was on PS3. Beautiful Katamari was on Xbox 360, which is like a much smaller game than these, but it was just like a 360 version of Katamari with like 15 levels. Touch My Katamari was on the Vita. I think they maybe did one more or something. I think there's a mobile one or something like that.
There wasn't any on the portable, was there?
I don't think there were any on the PSP. What would be... Okay, so we want to do like some kind of like hand motion, right? You know what would be perfect? Well, you know what system would be perfect that has two controllers you put in your hands? The Switch. So imagine it was a Switch game and you just like move the Joy-Cons. Like Joy-Con movement to roll the ball.
Oh, that'd be good.
Would that be amazing, right? Or yeah, like you were saying, like a VR game, like Oculus Katamari.
There was one on the PSP. It's called Me and My Katamari.
Oh, you're right. I think here's the issue. So the last Katamari game was the re-release, like the remake on Switch and stuff. I don't know how much the creator wants to be involved with Katamari anymore. Kaito Takahashi. Because, so the last game that he did was Watam, which was out on PS4 and Switch, which is like, that game's impossible for me to describe. It is bizarre. You are like a guy, you're the mayor, and you just interact with objects, and then the objects spawn more objects, and you talk to them too. And they'll be like, flush the poop down the toilet.
Flush the poop down the toilet.
And then the little poop guys go talk to the toilet guy, and then the toilet guy eats the poop guys and flushes them down the toilet. And then, like, the toilet's like, yay, thank you. And the poop is like, flush us. And you're like...
I'm sorry, dude. Are we talking about the creator and what he's been making from Katamari, or are we talking about Digimon?
We're talking about Watam right now, which... I own this physically. There's an I Am 8-bit physical release because I was like, dude, I have to own... The Katamari creators making a new game. I need to own it physically. You got to come over and watch me play this game. It makes no sense. I have no clue what I'm doing half the time, but that's the fun of it. Watam. So it's like, I don't even know if Takahashi wants to make more Katamari. I wish he did. I wish he was like, yeah, let's do VR Katamari. That sounds like the dream. Sounds like the absolute dream for me to freaking push a Katamari around. Sounds awesome.
That's what I thought.
Sounds freaking awesome to do.
It sounds crazy. I would want to play that.
But yeah, we love Katamari.
We do love Katamari.
Well, let's talk about why it deserves backlog status.
Hit me with it.
I would love to. So We Love Katamari is one of the most unique takes on the ball-rolling genre, of which the PS2 had many, many, many ball-rolling titles. Very popular kind of game.
Popular medium.
Well, it's just like, I think developers back then were like, okay, we need to make a game that's easy. Okay, what can we do? We can make a ball. Okay, what if we had the player push the ball around? Perfect. Done, right? Super easy to develop that, right?
And they went on to make pinball games.
But, I mean, if, honestly, Alex can attest to this, if you ever want a pure injection of joy and weirdness directly into your bloodstream, look no further than We Love Katamari, because once you play it, you will finally understand why we love Katamari. Or why, if you're in Japan, that joke doesn't really land, so I can change it and say, once you play this game, you'll finally understand why everyone loves Katamari.
There we go.
Anyways, that's going to be it for the Katamari episode. I wish I had more fun facts. I didn't look up a ton for fun facts. Mainly, I think I was worried. I didn't want to ruin my perception of this game. I didn't want to look at, like, development, and, like, the development is, like, Kaito Takahashi, spent 16 years developing. It was like he had the worst time developing Katamari, and he said, "I'm never gonna make."
They
another
chained
one.
him in his office and fed him crackers and water.
Yeah, I don't think I would go crazy if I found out like he hated working on this game or something like that. Like that would make me so sad because this game is like so integral to like my PS2. So if I found out like something like negative news about this game where it was like, yeah, Kaito said he'll never play.
See, that was me when we were doing October. I was so glad to see the developers were like happy and playing the game.
Yeah, right. Like we're reading.
I was like, oh, thank God.
Neversoft says Tony Hawk was just a scam. We were always in it for the money. You'd be like, oh my gosh, the heartbreak, right? But yeah, that's going to be it for our episode today on We Love Katamari. Let us know in the comments why you love Katamari. Let us know if you played this game. Let us know if you want to play this game. Please do.
You want to play this.
Please do. Look up gameplay.
100%.
Look up gameplay, please. It is amazing. Listen to the soundtrack. Experience any part of this game. If you have access to a PS2, do yourself a favor. Spend the best $20 you spent probably in years and get this game. It is
100%.
It is so much fun and brings me so much joy just to even think or talk about this game. And it is so bright and silly and fun. And it is worth the pick up, truly. But yeah, that's going to be it for us here tonight. So thank you so much for listening. Please share. We're on Season 2. Just getting that's what we're naming this year. So last year was Season 1. This is going to be Season 2. We're keeping the gravy train rolling. Got a bunch of hits for you guys coming up. But please let your friends know. Share us on social media. Hit the gritty. I don't know what kids do
If you
these
know
days.
someone famous, go to them and be like, yo, you ever listen to these guys?
Hey. I like that. Your tactic is word of mouth, but only to harassing famous people.
Look, it'll get to,
We'll share this on...
This will get to T-Pain. It'll get to Post Malone.
I'm going to share this on TikTok.
It's going to get to Raymond.
It's going to get to Ray Romano.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm going to share this to TikTok, and I'm going to share it to Martin Scorsese's daughter, and I'm going to make her show her dad. Award-winning filmmaker Martin Scorsese, our Duke Nukem episode where we just talk about
Adam Sandler will see it.
Oh, dude. Adam Sandler, if you're out there, I want you on this podcast bad, man. I would do a lot to get the Sandman on the podcast.
Look, I love Adam Sandler. I don't know if I can look that man in the face after watching Uncut Gems.
Dude, I don't even know what I talked to him about. He's into basketball. We'd have to play an NBA game or something. I don't know. I'd be like, hey, Mr. Sandler, please, we'll play whatever you want. I don't care what it is. I don't care how stupid the game is.
But you please breathe in my presence.
Yeah, exactly. Please sit at our table. I'm quite literally begging you to do so. He'd be like, you guys ever played Tetris? We'd be like, I love Tetris. It's my favorite game. It'd be like, yeah, I hate Tetris. So we'd be like, yeah, me too, Mr. Sandler. Tetris sucks. I hate Tetris, actually.
I feel like every interview I've ever watched of him, it goes something like that. He goes, hey, you ever heard of this? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's really good. He's like, I hate it. They're like, we hate it too.
Yeah, me too, man. No, he did a really interesting, we're just completely off topic here at the end. He did a really interesting interview with Brendan Fraser, right? And you'd be like, how are those two related? How are Adam
Yeah,
Sandler?
I've seen that. Yeah.
But they did an old comedy, which I own. I haven't seen it, though. It's called Airheads that they did together. It's Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, and they play like a bunch of
Brendan
metalheads.
Fraser, a national treasure.
Yes, agreed. But tell all your celebrity friends.
Tell all your celebrity friends. If you know the chain smokers, I can only think of artists.
What a you're like, if you know Adam Sandler or the chain smokers, please have them listen to our podcast. What a bizarre. Anyways, we love Katamari. Please share us to your friends. They don't have to be celebrities. It can just be your
But
buddies.
if they are.
But if they are, it's even better. But yeah, please send us an email. We'll have our email down below if you guys want to reach out. If you have any games you think we should play, any games from your childhood where you're like, I love this game, I want them to play this and talk about it, stuff like that. Please let us know. We've got, like I said, plenty of plans coming up here for you guys. Tons of good stuff. We're going to try and have a bunch of guests on soon.
We already had one.
We already had one. He talked about Mr. Halo. So, all right, that's going to be it for us here tonight on the Quick Save Podcast. We kind of lost it at the end, but we reined it in.
Maybe.
Good night. We love Katamari.
Good night. Monsieur, would you like your foie gras?
No. I want a Staboka. Origami. Origami.
Origami.
Origami.
Origami. Origami. Origami. Origami.
That was good. I also forgot there's a guy laying down. The guy laying down here in the bottom. You remember him? He goes,
Oh, yeah.
He goes, "Hey."
Yeah.
Sorry, give me a sec.
Foie gras. Je suis la prince.
Stop speaking French on this damn podcast, man.
I'm sorry. Who was saying don't be racist?
I have a topic to talk to you about after the podcast. I do not
Does it
waste.
involve foie gras?
It does not involve foie gras, and it does not, unfortunately, involve your involvement with the podcast ending after this episode because you keep talking about foie gras. Deborah,
Deborah!
the Katamaris are back. The prince is here.
Hey, Raymond, you got the couch back yet?
Raymond, you got the couch back. Raymond, they're rolling me up in the Katamari.
Hell!
He's throwing me into space, Raymond.
Hey, Raymond, I'm a planet.
Raymond, have you seen your brother? They made him a planet. Why can't you be a planet, Raymond?
Yeah.
Your brother, we love your brother so much. He's a planet. I wish you could accomplish something like that, Raymond. Deborah, your parents are judging me because I'm not a planet.
If you watch the smallest amount of Everyone Loves Raymond, you will understand why that's hilarious.
Pretty much every episode.
Yeah.
Your brother, we wish your brother-in-law, he's so much better than you at everything, and we're disappointed in you because of it.
My parents love that show, so I pretty much know that
Raymond's fine.
front to back.
I have no huge issues with it.
It was okay.
It could be worse. Look, it could be King of Queens.
I was gonna say it could have been King of Queens.
King of Queens, in which Kevin James is like, hate my wife so much. Hate my stupid wife. Hate my wife. But dude, King of Queens, one thing going for it, Jerry Stiller plays the dad, and he's great. Rest in peace. He was also George's dad in Seinfeld. He was very famously sitcom dad, so.
Yes, this is a Katamari episode.
Yeah. All right, good night.
Good night.